Imagine waking up every single day, knowing that you are someone else's property. You cannot choose where you sleep. You cannot choose what you eat. You cannot choose whether you live or die. That was the reality of a man born sometime around 50 AD in Hierapolis, in what is now modern-day Turkey. He had no last name, no inheritance, no rights. His name was Epictetus, and it literally meant acquired, a possession, a thing. And yet this man went on to change the minds of Roman emperors, reshape Western philosophy, and leave behind a body of wisdom so powerful that people are still reading it 2,000 years later. So how does a slave become the greatest Stoic philosopher who ever lived? That story starts in chains. Part 1. The early life of Epictetus, born into bondage. Epictetus was born around 50 AD in Hierapolis, a Greek-speaking city in the Roman province of Phrygia, modern Turkey. We know almost nothing about his parents, but historians believe his mother was a slave, which under Roman law made him a slave from the moment he drew his first breath. At some point in his early childhood, he was sold and transported to Rome, the beating heart of the most powerful empire the world had ever seen. Not as a citizen, not as a visitor, but as cargo. He was purchased by a man named Epictetus, a freedman who had risen to become one of Emperor Nero's most powerful secretaries. This man owned Epictetus the way someone owns a tool. And here is where history records one of the most chilling details of Epictetus's life. Epictetus, by some accounts, would twist Epictetus's leg as an act of casual cruelty or as a test. According to the ancient biographer Celsus, Epictetus simply said calmly, "You are going to break it." Epictetus continued. The leg broke. Epictetus said, "Did I not tell you? No screaming, no begging, no rage, just clarity." That single story, whether literal or symbolic, captures everything Stoicism is about. The body can be broken, the will cannot. Epictetus walked with a limp for the rest of his life, and he never stopped teaching. Part 2. The education that changed everything. Here is where fate took an unexpected turn. Epictetus, despite his cruelty, allowed Epictetus to study philosophy, perhaps seeing intellectual value in an educated slave. This was not uncommon in Rome. Educated slaves were often more useful. Epictetus was permitted to attend the lectures of Musonius Rufus, one of the most respected Stoic philosophers in Rome, at the time a man sometimes called the Roman Socrates, and something ignited. Epictetus absorbed everything. The core Stoic teaching that the external world, pain, poverty, power, reputation, is beyond our control. But our response to that world, that is entirely ours. For a slave, this was not abstract philosophy. This was survival. This was the only freedom available to him, and he seized it completely. He became not just a student, but a devotee. Philosophy wasn't something Epictetus studied. It was something he lived. Part 3. Freedom and the School that Shaped an Empire. Around 68 AD, Emperor Nero died, and in the political chaos that followed, Epictetus eventually freed Epictetus, likely sometime in the 70s AD. Epictetus was now a free man. But freedom for him was never really the point. He had already been free in the only way that mattered. He began teaching philosophy in Rome, drawing students and followers. But in 93 AD, Emperor Domitian, paranoid and authoritarian, expelled all philosophers from Rome, viewing them as a political threat. Epictetus relocated to Nicopolis, a city in northwestern Greece, and there he founded a school, and this school became legendary. Students traveled from across the Roman Empire to sit at his feet. Future statesmen, wealthy citizens, young men of privilege. And here is the beautiful irony. This former slave, this man who had owned nothing, who had been beaten, who had limped through life, was now being sought out by the most powerful people in the world. One of his most famous students was Arrian of Nicomedia, a Greek historian who would go on to write the definitive biography of Alexander the Great. Arrian was so moved by Epictetus's lectures that he transcribed them, and those transcriptions became the discourses, the primary record we have of Epictetus's teachings. Arrian also compiled a shorter summary, the Enchiridion, or the Handbook, a pocket guide to Stoic living, so practical and timeless, it reads like it was written yesterday. Part 4. What Epictetus actually taught. So what did this man actually believe? What is the philosophy that made emperors stop and listen? It begins with the dichotomy of control, the single most important idea in all of Stoicism. Epictetus taught that everything in life falls into one of two categories: what is up to us, our judgments, our desires, our intentions, our responses; what is not up to us, our body, our reputation, our wealth, what other people think, what happens to us. Most human suffering, Epictetus argued, comes from confusing these two categories, from desperately trying to control things that were never ours to control. The slave who begs for freedom is suffering twice, once from the chains and again from the resistance to the chains. But the man who accepts what cannot be changed and pours all his energy into what can be changed, that man is already free. He said it plainly. Men are disturbed not by the things that happen, but by the opinions about the things. This wasn't passivity. This wasn't giving up. This was radical, surgical focus. Epictetus also taught the importance of living according to nature and reason, of understanding your role in the larger whole, fulfilling your duties as a human being, a citizen, a friend, not because it benefits you, but because it is the right thing to do. He taught his students to practice negative visualization, to imagine losing what they love, not to feel despair, but to cultivate gratitude, to hold things lightly, to love people while remembering they are mortal. And he taught self-examination without self-punishment, to look honestly at your flaws, correct course, and move on, not to spiral, not to perform guilt, just to improve. 5. The legacy that reached an emperor. Here is perhaps the most astonishing fact about Epictetus. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, ruler of the known world, one of the most powerful human beings who ever lived, kept a personal journal. We know it today as Meditations. And throughout that journal, again and again, Marcus Aurelius returns to the teachings of Epictetus. The emperor, sitting at the most powerful throne in the world, was drawing strength from the words of a man who had been a slave. That is the reach of Epictetus, from the bottom of Roman society to its very peak. And it didn't stop there. The Enchiridion was studied by early Christian monks as a guide to moral discipline. It influenced Renaissance thinkers. It shaped the philosophy of James Stockdale, a U.S. Navy admiral who survived years of torture as a prisoner of war in Vietnam by mentally reciting the teachings of Epictetus. In the modern age, Stoicism has seen a massive revival, and Epictetus remains its most visceral, most human voice. Because he didn't theorize about suffering from a comfortable chair. He lived it. Epictetus died around 135 AD in Nicopolis, surrounded by students. He reportedly lived in great simplicity, a small lamp, a mat on the floor. He had no desire for wealth, no hunger for status. He had already possessed the only thing worth having. What he left behind was not property, not titles, not monuments. He left behind a question, one that cuts through every excuse, every circumstance, every hardship. What is up to you? Not the economy, not your past, not what was done to you. What is up to you? Because if a man who was born as property, who was beaten, crippled, exiled, could find total freedom inside the four walls of his own mind, then what exactly is your excuse?